Hey, how you doing? So this is kind of a crappy video because I'm going to shoot this by myself without any help. And this car is really packed in here right now. This is my 66 Toronado that I don't know why I decided that I'm going to sell it, but it's up for sale. I had it listed here for 2 days at obviously way too low of a price, so I'm pulling the ad. I'm going to relist it for a more realistic price, because I got 60 some odd communications in reference to this at the price that I had it listed at. I really did not expect that impact, so I'm shooting a video of it here so that y'all can see that this obviously needs to be disassembled the rest of the way and stripped down and repainted. But this car is in absolutely amazing condition. This thing has spent the past probably 40 years of its life indoors. I bought it kind of on a whim. I found it on Craigslist for I wouldn't call it a substantial price, but a fair price. And I have wanted one of these cars since I was 5 years old. And every one of them that I've looked at, and I've probably looked at hundreds of them, was in a very poor condition. This one appeared to be in good shape, so I negotiated a deal and sent a friend of mine to go and pick it up. And when it arrived, I was just floored at how clean it was. And so I then put a tarp over it, eventually hauled it to my commercial warehouse where it has spent the past 2 years. And a couple of weeks ago, I needed to start organizing my warehouse, so I moved it out of there, which is what prompted me to put it up for sale, because I'm tripping over it and 6 of my other projects plus 100 and some bikes. So as I said, the engine is in my post, the engine is disassembled to do a valve job. I don't know why they pulled the camshaft out when they did that as well, probably just to inspect it. But the cylinder walls are absolutely clean. Tops of the pistons are clean. There is no rust on this car whatsoever. The only damage I've even found is in the bottom of the cross member below the engine. They struck a curb with it, so it's got about a 1-inch deep dent in the bottom of the cross member. But this car, like I say, has spent 40 years at least indoors disassembled. As I understand it, the gentleman took the car apart in order to repaint it because he didn't like the color. And as long as he was taking it apart to repaint it, he went ahead and pulled the engine down in order to do the heads, because obviously these didn't have hardened valve seats in them. So, like I say, I do not want to sell this car. I do not care if this car sells or not. Obviously, I get mad at the car for being in my way when I have to trip over it and it's impeding my ability to function my business, which is a metal fabrication shop, so I need all the space that I get. But I have wanted one of these cars forever, and I'm probably likely not to find one this nice that I don't end up having to pay restored prices for. This thing is just immaculate. So my price that I relist it for is going to reflect the value of the car. There is some sort of goofy patch in this wheel well. I believe there might have been a frost plug or something there that they put Bondo over. I believe there was another patch back here. So that is about the only damage or rust that I have found on this thing. Currently, like I say, I had to move it over to this shop when I started trying to organize my commercial building. And so this shop, the floors do sweat after we just had a torrential downpour of 3 inches yesterday, and some of the water gets into the building here, and now it's 90 degrees today, and so it's sweating. So this is why I would be motivated to sell this car, because if it sits in this shop and I can't air condition this shop, it's going to start to rust from the sweating. And right now it literally is just a factor of in fact, there you can see the bottom of the gas tank is sweating. But it is a factor right now of bring this thing in, put it up on jack stands, tear it down, and over the course of a week, prep it, resand it, and you've got yourself a $15,000 car or better. Unfortunately, I did not pop the trunk while I had the opportunity before I started shooting this video. But a lot of the engine parts are in the trunk. Got an axle shaft there, not sure what else we can see. Valve covers. Now, I was told by the owner when I bought this that some of the stuff, like the carburetor and the intake, it looks like I got a dual rail shifter of some sort there, that may be from a Bravada. I believe that's what he had said. He was going to replace the front seats with those out of the Oldsmobile SUV, the split buckets with the twin rail shifter. So I was under the assumption he had told me that the seats were missing because he was going to do the update, and that the intake had gone missing when he sent the heads out for repair. Now, that being said, the seats are there. They're just laying over. Rear seat is black. It's kind of hard to tell with this camera, but the rear seat is black, but the door panels and the headliner and the front seat are all blue. The steering wheel itself is black, but the dash pad is deep blue. So this car originally, I'll get the other door open here in a minute, but we're showing 21,000 on the speedometer there. But the only part I am not verifying, I have not seen now, because like I say, the intake is sitting there, which I was under the assumption the intake was missing. But there's the taillights. What I'm not seeing are the heads. So maybe it's the heads that were missing rather than the, there's the air cleaner sitting in there. All the trim is in there. But maybe it was the heads that were missing rather than the intake. There's the rear bumper standing up here. So sorry for kind of the wobbly video here, shooting this and rambling on, but so yeah, the inside of the door jamb is black while the interior panel is blue. But once again, this thing is just absolutely rust free and clean. Even the floor pans, there really isn't a spot of rust on them that I can see. Now obviously, like I say, I made the deal, I sent my friend out to pick it up, I got it back and I shoved it in my warehouse, and I never really went back to look at it really close again until now, because of the amount of interest that I've had in it. But I got a lot of water hanging off the bottom of this, so yeah, I'm going to be getting it up on jack stands because this thing deserves to be treated better than this. And I'll get a fan under it to keep this condensation from happening. But the reason that I'm going to list it at the price that I'm going to list it for is this thing is worth every damn penny of it. It just needs to be taken apart the rest of the way, repainted, and put together. This car deserves more respect than sitting and rotting in a shop where it's going to have condensation hanging off of it. I don't have the time to do anything with it right now, and it really should be addressed right now before it degrades, or it needs to be gotten back into an air-conditioned shop, and I just can't do that right now. So if you have real interest in the car and its parts car, like I said, I've got a bunch of pictures of the parts car that will be listed with it, which is complete, and the engine is complete. So all the rest of the trim that may be missing off of this, and things like the heads, intake, carburetor, all that is on the parts car. I think that the price that I'm going to put this up for will be very fair for what is here. This one does have a clear title. I do not have a title to the parts car. I just got a bill of sale from the guys when I bought that one. Thanks for listening to my rambling. If you want to make a fair offer on the car, do so. But obviously, I am in love with this car. I have always wanted one of these, and I will not be giving it away because otherwise it's going to cost me 15 grand to replace it. So thanks for watching.